You came into my life at a time where I couldn't even possibly imagine my worth. I thank you now because you helped me grow. And although I never forget where I came from, I always remember where I'm going. And that's with you by my side. Because it's going to always include us standing next to each other and side by side. I vow to continue to inspire you as you have always inspired me. I promise to give you my eternal loyalty and heart, for you are the only man I would ever need.
Just weeks earlier, Lavinia Gardner had been glowing with happiness, walking down the aisle toward the man she believed was her forever. Their wedding photos told a story of love, smiles, laughter, and promises whispered under soft lights. But behind those perfect moments, small cracks had already begun to form, the kind that only love-blind hearts choose to ignore. No one knew that the same man who kissed her forehead that day would soon become her greatest fear. On April 16, 2021, those vows of "till death do us part" took on a horrifying meaning. As flames consumed her body, Lavinia ran through the streets, fighting for a life she had just begun to build. She didn't make it, the fire was too much. This is the heartbreaking story of Lavinia Gardner, a woman whose dream wedding became her darkest ending. This story takes us to Chicago, Illinois, a city known for its shimmering skyline, deep history, and endless rhythm of life. Yet, beneath the beauty and bustle lies a city of contradictions, vibrant but volatile, full of opportunity but shadowed by struggle. It was in this complex landscape that the heartbreaking story of Lavinia Vive Gardner quietly began to unfold. To her loved ones, she wasn't a statistic or a headline, she was warmth in human form. Born and raised in the South Deering neighborhood, Lavinia was known for her kindness, laughter, and the way her smile could brighten even the dullest day. Friends remembered her as someone who lifted spirits just by walking into a room, leaving behind a glow that lingered long after she left. Her joyful personality radiated on social media, especially on Facebook, where she shared glimpses of her life, playful selfies, lighthearted jokes, and moments with friends that captured her fun-loving spirit. Living in Cook County, one of the country's most diverse regions, Lavinia found comfort in her community, even as she navigated the fast pace of city life. Though she kept certain aspects of her past private, everything about her presence reflected her strength, dignity, and the solid values she had grown up with. Professionally, she worked as a customer service representative for America's Financial Choice, helping clients deal with financial hardships. Colleagues admired her calm under pressure and the rare compassion she showed toward every customer who walked through the door. By her early 30s, Lavinia had built a life that was steady and fulfilling, good friends, stable work, and a heart still open to love. But like many who seemed to have everything figured out, she longed for something more. Beneath her bright exterior was a quiet yearning, to share her life with someone who saw her the way she saw the world, with optimism, faith, and hope. She wanted a love that felt safe and real. Then, in the spring of 2020, she met Henry Taylor, a 35-year-old man whose confidence and charm made an immediate impression. Their connection wasn't the kind of cinematic love story that starts with fireworks. It began casually, a relationship built on attraction and curiosity. Yet over time the bond deepened. Henry's charisma drew her in, his boldness intrigued her. Soon, the line between affection and attachment blurred, and Lavinia found herself falling deeply in love. But love can be deceiving, and what shines bright at first can hide the deepest shadows. Behind Henry's charm was a man with a troubled past, a history of theft, vehicle possession charges, and time behind bars. Those details might have scared others away, but not Lavinia. She believed people could change, that love could soften even the hardest hearts. What she couldn't yet see were the warning signs, the quick temper, the flashes of anger, the need for control that occasionally surfaced. Henry often admitted he struggled to contain his rage, and his outbursts weren't just words, they were actions, reckless and destructive. Still, Lavinia stayed. She saw not the man he was, but the man she hoped he could become. Her loyalty was her strength, but also her undoing. Welcome to Unveiled Truth, Crime Tales. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because every time, we unveil the real stories. On March 16, 2021, Lavinia took that belief to heart. Dressed in white, glowing with hope, she stood beside Henry and promised to love him forever.
You came into my life at a time where I couldn't even possibly imagine my worth. I thank you now because you helped me grow. And although I never forget where I came from, I always remember where I'm going, and that's with you by my side. Because it's gonna always include us standing next to each other and side by side. I vow to continue to inspire you as you have always inspired me. I promise to give you my eternal loyalty and heart, for you are the only man I would ever need. I'll listen to you. I'll nurture you. I'll fight, but I will be true. I will always do my equal share, and I will vow to never give up on you. I'll try my best to fulfill your every need. I'll walk hand in hand with you, but I will always give you your separate space to grow. I'll tend to you when you're sick. I'll build you up when you're low. I stand before our family and friends, and I'm gonna say this from my heart. From this day forward, I'm here. I'm right here, so you don't let go. You're my strength, my joy, my everything. And when you feel like the world is crumbling, look at me, because I'm your rock. I will love you, and I just want to thank you for choosing me. Because you chose me. I love you.
Perfect. Now don't kiss yet, you two, okay? Keep holding hands. When we look at the rings, we can see that they're formed into perfect round circles with no beginning, but more importantly, no end. As God intended it, when we place your wedding bands together in this fashion, they form the sign of infinity. May these blessed rings always be that reminder to each of you. Someone else carries your heart, and they love you just as much as you love them. I'm going to hand you your bride's beautiful rings here. As you recall, the band will go first as it will go closest to her heart.
Yes.
Then the engagement. Here's her hand here. Take your time.
That's a nice ring. You like that? Oh, man. Yeah, your man got style, baby.
It's so cute.
And go right ahead. And gently lift her hand there. Give her hand a little kiss there. We ladies love that. I love it. I have a ring for you, dear. I'm going to hand it to you here. His hand is here. Before you place that ring, I'd like for you to place your love inside the ring he'll wear for the rest of his life. And you go right ahead and place that ring right where it belongs. The beautiful promises in your vows, they are laced, interwoven into the rings that you are now exchanging. In fact, these are the first gifts that you give each other in your wedding day. May you always treasure your rings, like you'll treasure this moment, and like you'll treasure your marriage.
It was her dream wedding, the culmination of a love she believed could survive anything. But sometimes even the brightest dreams can cast the darkest shadows, and behind her radiant smile, a quiet sense of unease was already beginning to stir. They tied the knot in Las Vegas, the city of bright lights and endless promises, choosing its glittering skyline as the backdrop for what they believed would be a brand new beginning. The ceremony was small and intimate. Just a handful of close relatives gathered to witness Lavinia and Henry exchange vows. In that moment, surrounded by music, laughter, and neon lights, they both seemed certain that the worst was behind them. The air felt full of hope, and when they looked at each other, it was as if love had erased every trace of their past struggles. Their wedding video captured that illusion perfectly. Smiles that didn't falter, laughter that felt genuine, and a warmth that made it seem like they were finally stepping into the fairy tale they had always wanted. But what looked like a dream was, in truth, the beginning of a nightmare Lavinia could never have imagined. In the weeks that followed, Lavinia's Facebook timeline overflowed with the joy of a newlywed. She and Henry shared videos of romantic dinners, late-night laughter, and playful banter that painted the picture of a couple blissfully in love. Her friends commented with hearts and congratulations, unaware that those bright posts masked a much darker reality. Behind every smiling photo was a woman still navigating the same cycle of tension, apologies, and emotional turbulence that had always defined their relationship. The same cracks that existed before the wedding hadn't disappeared, they had simply been covered up by filters and captions. Then came a video that, at the time, seemed harmless. Just days before tragedy struck, Luvinia went live on Facebook, sitting beside Henry as they shared a seafood boil, chatting casually with their audience. To anyone watching, it was a sweet, ordinary moment between a couple in love, two people enjoying food and laughter together. But if you listen closely, there was something deeply unsettling beneath the surface. During that live stream, Henry admitted he had anger issues, brushing it off as what he jokingly called short man syndrome. The way he said it, flat, almost proud, sent a quiet chill through anyone paying attention. It wasn't self-reflection, it was a warning dressed as humor. And then he said something far more disturbing. With a calmness that felt unnatural, Henry began to talk about his past, saying he wasn't afraid of going back to prison, that he'd been there before and could handle it again if he had to. His tone was eerily casual, the kind of tone people used to talk about mundane things, not about life and death.
I got real friends, getting education. Don't put me on your live, cause I don't on them fucking ass on your page.
Didn't I just give you?
I'll take a sip.
Didn't I give you 3% tax?
3%. Then it's, oh, you gonna take all my stuff?
I bought it. What about that one? That was your 3% when I bought it.
What you mean?
Your Pepsi. I bought you a Pepsi sitting right there. And I bought your icy.
Hey, my mans, you get too loud. You get too loud.
I bought you two.
Hey, you gonna have to speak to me. You want to talk to me nice, baby.
Like this. I bought you two.
Yeah.
Bought you a Pepsi and an icy. Wrong.
Hey.
Wrong, bitch.
Next time you get into it with somebody, you just calm it down. Be like, hey, talk to me nice.
Cause I used to say that shit all the time.
Like, that scared motherfucker. Be like, why is? Cause I'm about to fuck. I really got anger issues because I'm short as fuck. I really have the short man syndrome, and I be ready to explode. Like when dude hit our car, and I was like,
I knew
baby.
I knew I had to get out the car. This man hit our car, right?
I am so.
This got a truck too, by the way. But he hit our other car.
Listen.
This motherfucker get out the
Baby,
car.
listen, I am so peaceful. Why did I grab him
And
and
start?
was like,
I'm like, let me get out this car.
I'm like, don't make me.
Cause we finna hit this man in the face.
What you mean?
Cause the man was arguing with him.
You finna do what to me?
Like we hit him. I'm like, yeah, let me get out.
I'm like, man, don't let me do this to you. I don't want to hurt you. What you mean, man?
Yeah, I really be saying crab up worse than this,
boy,
but I am on live, so I ain't gonna let y'all see how I really be eating.
I will go back to prison. And I ain't going for a fight. I'm trying to break your motherfucking neck. And then stay there at the scene of the crime.
That's why I like, no, but really? So you trying to keep?
Then, with Luvinia sitting right next to him, he said words that would later haunt everyone who heard them. He had nothing to live for, and if someone ever crossed him, he wouldn't hesitate to take their life. There was no hint of a joke, no smile to soften the words, just a chilling statement spoken as fact. The night of April 16, 2021, began like any other in South Deering, Chicago. Streetlights flickered over quiet blocks. Neighbors walked dogs. Children's laughter echoed faintly in the distance. Inside one modest apartment, Luvinia Vev Gardner Taylor was home with her husband, Henry Taylor. But the air was heavy with tension, the kind that isn't visible to the world but felt by those who live in it. Friends and neighbors would later say they heard nothing that night. But inside that apartment, a tragedy was unfolding. According to legal records and news reports, Henry Taylor allegedly doused Vev with lighter fluid. The violence escalated almost instantaneously. Flames consumed what would become her final hours on Earth. Vev reacted immediately, the fight-or-flight instinct overriding shock and pain. She tore at the burning fabric of her clothing, desperately trying to halt the flames. Her body was already sustaining devastating injuries, burns covering more than 70% of her skin, hair extensions fused to her scalp. Seeing someone in that condition, conscious, in flames trying to escape, is extremely rare. Most victims do not survive even the first moments. Vev's courage was extraordinary. Despite unbearable pain, she ran. 2 blocks. Every step fueled by sheer willpower. She didn't stop at the curb. She didn't stop at the street. She ran straight to Engine 81 Firehouse on Hoxie Avenue, a desperate dash toward safety, toward life. Firefighters saw her condition and reacted immediately. Vev was conscious enough to speak, even as smoke curled around her. "I knew he would try to kill me. I should have left him a long time ago," she said. That statement, simple, harrowing, revealed both the terror she lived with and the knowledge of danger she had sensed for so long. Firefighters called for an ambulance. Vev was transported to Trinity Hospital, then to the University of Chicago Medical Center. Every moment counted, but the damage was catastrophic. In that hospital room, surrounded by machines and monitors, Vev fought for her life. She endured surgeries, treatments, and unimaginable pain. Yet her story was far from over, because even in her absence, the legal system and community would soon confront the consequences of failure. Cases like Vev's are not only about the tragedy itself. They highlight systemic issues, how authorities respond, how laws are enforced, and how domestic violence protections can fail even when danger is known. The night of April 16th was not just a single moment of horror. It was the culmination of tension, fear, and unheeded warnings. And for Vev, it would mark the beginning of a desperate fight that would captivate the city, shock the legal system, and expose gaps in protection meant to save her life. And yet, for the community and the world outside that apartment, the full scale of what had happened, and what was coming, would only become clear in the days that followed. After her desperate dash to the firehouse, Louvenia Vev Gardner Taylor was rushed to Trinity Hospital, then to the University of Chicago Medical Center. Her body bore burns over more than 70% of her skin, and her hair extensions were fused to her scalp, a terrifying testament to the violence she had survived. Vev's fight for life was immediate and grueling. She underwent multiple surgeries, each a battle against searing pain, infection, and organ failure. Every hour, every breath was a struggle. And yet, through it all, she remained conscious enough to express her fear and anguish, the awareness of betrayal and the horror of what had happened. Severe burns like this are some of the most difficult injuries to treat. Survival depends on rapid response, intensive care, and sheer resilience. That Vev held on as long as she did speaks to her incredible willpower. Friends and family gathered outside her hospital room, praying, hoping. The city watched, some unaware, some horrified by the unfolding reality. But even in her physical suffering, the battle for justice had already begun. Vev succumbed to her injuries on May 21, 2021, over a month after the attack. Her death ignited outrage and scrutiny over how authorities had responded. Her estate filed a civil wrongful death suit against the city of Chicago, claiming that police had failed to protect her, in violation of the Illinois Domestic Violence Act (IDVA). The appellate court records reveal a sobering truth. Law enforcement had a legal duty to protect Vev, yet failed to take all reasonable measures that could have prevented her death. This case sets a precedent. Even when an abuser may be mentally unstable, the authorities' duty to protect a victim does not disappear. Vev's death demonstrated a systemic failure, a failure recognized by the courts. The verdict? The city of Chicago was held accountable. Justice for Vev, while it could not bring her back, acknowledged the negligence that allowed a preventable tragedy to occur. Vev's story, though tragic, illuminates crucial lessons. Domestic violence often escalates in quiet, unseen ways. Warning signs can be missed, even by loved ones. Legal systems and law enforcement have obligations to act, and the consequences of inaction can be catastrophic. Louvenia Vev Gardner Taylor's life was stolen in the most brutal of ways. But her courage, her desperate run to survive, her awareness of danger, her fight in the hospital, and the resulting legal victory, ensure her story is remembered. After the horror of April 16, 2021, when Louvenia Vev Gardner was set on fire, the next fight began not just in hospital beds, but inside a courtroom. Her husband, Henry Taylor, was charged with first-degree murder, and the legal system was forced to confront not only a brutal crime, but deeper questions about responsibility, confession, and accountability. Henry Taylor turned himself in to police days after the attack. According to prosecutors, he admitted to pouring gasoline on Louvenia and lighting her. He was charged with first-degree murder. At his first court appearance, a judge labeled the act as brutal and heinous. He was held without bail, pending further proceedings. In a videotaped police interview, Taylor allegedly said, "He wasn't even that close to her and she went up in flames." Just hours after the attack, he called her family, her mother, brother, sister, and reportedly confessed. Prosecutors' narrative is stark and chilling. A domestic dispute turned deadly. According to the Cook County State's attorney, Taylor sprayed his wife with lighter fluid, then flicked a lighter at her. Then Vev ran. She stripped away burning clothes, doused herself in a shower, and 2 blocks later, pounded on the door of Firehouse Engine 81, screaming for help. First responders who saw her described severe injuries. Over 70% of her body was burned. Her hair extensions had melted into her scalp. Firefighters reported that she told them, "I knew he would try to kill me. I should have left him a long time ago." Whether that argument will mitigate Taylor's criminal sentence, or not, is a pivotal question. But the fight for justice didn't end in the criminal courtroom. Vev's estate filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Chicago, arguing the police failed under the Illinois Domestic Violence Act (IDVA). At his first court appearance in May 28, 2021, he was charged with a first-degree murder, a charge that reflects the brutality and intent behind his action. The judge labeled the alleged act as brutal and heinous. Taylor was held without bail pending trial. In a police interview, Taylor allegedly said, "He wasn't even that close to her and she went up in flames." Hours later, he reportedly confessed to Vev's family. On September 3, 2025, a written order was entered in the criminal appeal, People v. Taylor 2025 IL App 1st, 231074U. The appellate court reviewed sentencing decisions, mitigating factors including mental health arguments, aggravating circumstances like prior criminal record. The court affirmed the trial court's judgment, confirming that the sentence fell within a reasonable and legal range. Mental health considerations were acknowledged, but they did not excuse the severity of the alleged crime. For Vev's family, the September 3 decision was a formal acknowledgement of the trial's correctness, a legal milestone in a deeply tragic story. While the appellate order and civil case provide some measure of accountability, they cannot erase the loss. Yet they do offer insight into the legal system. How criminal responsibility is weighed against mental health considerations. How civil systems can recognize institutional failures. How justice is multi-layered, part criminal, part civil, part societal. September 3, 2025, stands as a date of reckoning in this story, the day the courts affirmed the judgment, reminding us that legal processes are meticulous, deliberate, and sometimes painfully slow. Her story is a reminder, justice is never just a courtroom. It's also about how society protects those at risk, and how laws meant to shield the vulnerable must be enforced. Her legacy is a warning, a lesson, and a call to action. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is available. National Domestic Violence Hotline, US 1-800-799-SFE, 7233, Chicago Domestic Violence Services, https://www.dvresources.org. We honor Vev's memory by spreading awareness, by listening to her story, and by demanding accountability, for victims, for communities, and for the systems meant to protect them. Thank you for watching Unveiled Truth, Crime Tales. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real stories unveiled.